on CityCast Nashville, we're talking about how to survive a night downtown as a local. From personal safety to feeling out of place among the tourists, there's a lot of question marks on Lower Broad, and here to help answer them is Nashville's night mayor, Benton McDonough. It's Thursday, March 27th. I'm your host, Marie Cecile Anderson, and this is what Nashville's talking about. Describe your job in one word.
Unique.
Ooh, that's good. I like that. Now give us a real description and why your position was created.
It's something different every day, which is what I really love. But in general, it's to act as a liaison between bars, the residents, the visitors to the city, and metro government.
Okay, so what does a normal week look like for you? Are you out every single night? Do you ever sleep? What's your situation?
You know, when I first started, I was the only one in the department. So for about a year, it was just me. But, you know, now I have a team that is a big part of it and share a lot of the responsibility that way. And so, you know, there were nights when I first started where, you know, I'd have my job with the beer board during the day. And also, you know, I would handle calls that were coming in throughout the night sometimes. We handle hub complaints for noise violations. And if it's something that's related to like a bar or business, that's something that we're looking at to assist with. We would be in communication with MNPD throughout the night. I mean, it's something different every day and every night. And depending on what's going on, I might get to bed at a decent hour or I'm, you know, may not sleep that night. I don't know. It just kind of depends on what's going on. And so while I'm not out there every single night, I do try to go down to the entertainment district every weekend. When
you show up downtown, do you have a uniform? Do you have like a nightmare hat or a badge or something? How do people recognize you?
We have talked about that. You know, right now it's mainly like blue jeans and maybe a button down or something like that. So really nothing okay. Exciting. Yeah, but maybe I should look at doing that. So.
We want to hear the wildest or funniest story you've heard in your role as night mayor.
Well, obviously the strangest, I think it would be, you know, a certain chair being thrown off of a rooftop.
Yes.
That was one thing. You know, the other was the issue with individuals bringing snakes down to
oh dear,
to Broadway and charging people to pet them and have their photos taken with them. So that was something else.
So snakes aren't allowed?
They are not now.
Oh, that's actually good. Okay, great. Well, going back to the Morgan Wallen chair incident, what are the repercussions for other people who have thrown things off of rooftops? Is that a common occurrence?
It does happen on occasion. It kind of ebbs and flows. It's usually someone threw it like a plastic cup or something like that, or something that had ice. It's typically not something of significant size.
Okay, this is a perfect segue to why you're here. We want to know how to survive a night downtown Nashville. So let's start with how to fit in. Do we need to wear cowboy boots or Daisy Dukes, or can we just be ourselves?
Well, you know, and I think that's why people come to Nashville is that it's looked at as being this, you know, southern hospitable location where, you know, people are welcoming and you can come down here and have a good time and be yourself. And so some of the bars, I believe, have certain dress codes, but as far as like what a person wants to wear, I think it's really up to the individual, what makes them comfortable and what's going to allow them to have a good time while they're here.
When I have friends visit, I do actually take them and drive down Broadway just so they can see what it looks like on a Saturday night and what people are wearing. And it is, I have to say, through the years, there's less and less clothes on people's bodies down there,
I've noticed that. So your friends just stay in the car, though?
Yeah, we do that. Yeah. I'll take them on a Tuesday.
Okay.
I'm sure you love that when people come from out of town just to drive Broadway, baby.
Just to see the spectacle that's out there.
Just to see the spectacle. No, we keep it inside the car, but I love a Tuesday night downtown.
Oh, yeah. We had some family friends that were in town recently. And so I came down, met them, gave them a tour of the district. And it was on a Tuesday and it was still pretty crowded, but obviously not like a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday.
What's your favorite bar that is not Robert's Western Wing?
It's kind of like I had my daughter the other day asked me which one of my daughters is my favorite. And I explained to her that you each have your own individual qualities that I appreciate.
You don't have an absolute favorite?
It's really all of them. I appreciate all of the different qualities that they bring to Broadway.
Where would you take your children?
We go to Fifth and Broad, so we'll take them there, and then we'll.
Yeah.
If there's like an event or something at Bridgestone, like Disney on Ice, then my wife and I will take them to Fifth and Broad and then go across the street. But we've walked down Broadway just to allow them to see what it's like. Not very often though. And it's
lots of questions from the kids, perhaps.
It was very quiet on the way home. So for what that's worth, it's always interesting being down there. And we'll take them sometimes to visit the Red Frogs. I don't take them down there very often.
Well, can you explain to our listeners at home who may not know what the Red Frogs are?
They're a group that we partner with, and they're actually originally out of Australia. They work in areas where you have high consumption of alcoholic beverages. And Nashville is actually the first U.S. city that they've set up shop in. Really, their job is to provide a space for people that may have over participated at the bars or other venues. And so we really want people to have a plan and stay together and that sort of thing. But sometimes you get separated from your friends and your phone is dead by the time you get down to Broadway. And so they have an area where a person can charge their phone. They have an area where a person can sit down and rest. They provide water. They actually get their name from the Red Frog candy that they hand out. It's a good way for them to start a conversation with someone is to offer them candy, even though you're not supposed to take candy from a stranger. A lot of people do that.
These are good strangers.
These are good strangers. So they'll go out throughout the district and look for individuals that may be in distress. It's about having another layer of assistance for partygoers that are coming down to Broadway to have a good time.
Can you enjoy downtown while you're sober? The non-alcoholic trend is really hot these days, as we're learning. All of our local restaurants are having NA beverages. Can you have fun downtown if you're sober?
Yeah, no, I definitely think so. Side story that's related to this. Just before COVID hit, Dr. Caldwell reached out to me. And so he wanted to talk to me about getting non-alcoholic beverages to the bars. And I'm like, I'm the head of the beer board. Why is he reaching out with non-alcoholic beverages? So I was like, okay, we'll think about it. With COVID, I think there was really this migration towards people wanting a different option other than just alcohol. And so you have seen this increase. I think you see more bars and restaurants moving in that direction and offering that as an option to their customers.
I love to see it. I really do.
Yeah. I had a non-alcoholic beverage the other day and it tasted a lot like a beer. So they've done some really good work on it.
I know, it's amazing. All right. So let's say we have tickets to see a show at the Ryman. Where should locals park? Or what's your suggestions for how we should get there?
We're moving in a direction to improve public transportation. I think that's definitely coming. You have, an option with Uber and Lyft and those as well. And if you're looking to park, Metropolis has parking lots all around the area, but you also have the convention center. And I know a lot of people park at the library.
Mm-hmm, that's where I park.
It's where I park too. And it's a flat fee there to park as well. And it's not too far of a walk from the Ryman.
It takes forever to get an Uber at the end of the night down there. Suggestions for better ways to get the hell out of there?
It's like we tell our girls, you have to pack your patience with that. I mean, that you just have so many people coming down. I do think it's going to get better with Connect Downtown and also with everything through the mayor's office with improved public transportation. It's just going to take time, but I think we're headed in the right direction.
What's Connect Downtown?
That's actually a program that NDOT has been working on. And really, they're trying to organize the best ways for cabs and ride shares and that sort of thing, and a central point of drop off and pick up to help keep the traffic to a minimum as much as possible in the downtown area.
Yeah, I know when I call an Uber, I go as far away from Broadway as possible, and it does seem to help. All right, here's another scenario. If we forgot it was CMA Fest and we go down there, is there any chance of avoiding the madness, or do you just dive right in?
It's going to be crowded down there. That's an understatement. We went to CMA Fest this past year, and I was typically out of town during CMA Fest. And so this past year was the first time that I was really able to attend and enjoyed it.
Where do you point locals to check if big events are taking place that may affect their regularly scheduled programming?
We are actually working on a website. I mean, we've been in existence now for 2.5 years. So you would think that we would have a website, but something we do want to do is to be a clearinghouse, really, for lack of a better term, for events that are going on in Nashville. But, I think there are several places on social media that you can go on and look for events. If you go to, I think Bridgestone's site, the Ryman's site, Nissan Stadium, like any of those places, you can find out what events are coming up at that particular location.
I do highly recommend to do that because I have been stuck downtown in one of the parking garages when the symphony was letting out.
Oh, yes.
And a convention was going on and then a Predators game.
Yes.
And, it was just like a convergence of madness. So I wish I had just, I could have just picked another night to go downtown. But I love going downtown. So it really is, it's worth it.
Yeah, that's something that we've tried to work on as well, to communicate with NDOT, but also with the Symphony and Bridgestone and any of the entities that may have events going on at the same time, to try to coordinate how do we move traffic out of downtown, because we have had those situations where individuals got stuck in parking garages for much longer than they should have been.
Well, now I'd like to talk about some more serious parts of your job.
Mm-hmm.
Nashville is known to many people as the binge drinking capital of America. How do you feel about that?
I think it goes back to people see Nashville as this hospitable place. We obviously want the tourists to come here and spend their money, but we also want them to be safe. And, one way we try to do that is to try to work on messaging. Look at, for instance, the CDC did the push pause messaging where, they're just trying to put some rules out there that, people need to have a plan, stay in groups, that sort of thing. And I feel like our job is to try to provide public safety and protect people from situations that they may find themselves in from drinking too much alcohol. That's why we brought the Red Frogs along, that's why we have the Safe Bar program that we've been partnering with through the Sexual Assault Center. So we tried to put things in place behind the scenes to try and make the environment safer for people to come here and consume alcohol or food or whatever makes them happy, to be able to make sure everyone goes home safely and can remember the good time they had here so that they'll want to come back.
And it's been a little over a year now since the tragic death of Riley Strain, who went missing after a night out drinking and was found in the Cumberland River. Besides the Red Frogs, what changes have been made since then to ensure the safety of everyone who comes to Nashville for a good time?
As I mentioned, the Safe Bar program is another one that we've been partnering with to try and address some of the issues that come up from time to time. I will also say that we've been working on Narcan distribution to address some of the issues that come up, with overdoses and things of that nature, to try and head that off. I know that the mayor has also appropriated, I think it was $1.5 million for additional fencing and things of that nature on riverfront, and cameras as well, to be able to make sure that the riverfront area is safe. And I will say, I was born and raised in Nashville, and the Riley Strain situation is heartbreaking and it's horrible. And I can't really remember the last time anything like that happened in the 45 years that I've been in Nashville. And so I think everyone was surprised by that, because we'd always had the same barriers and things like that were set up along the riverfront to prevent people from falling into the river. So obviously, we needed to go the extra distance to put up additional fencing, and that's what the mayor did by putting the $1.5 million towards it.
What efforts are being made to support and protect the late night workers? Like, obviously, we've been talking about the bartenders and stuff, but the musicians and the service industry, are there certain types of training even for the bouncers and security guards?
The Safe Bar partnership that we have, that's one thing that provides training to staff, both security staff, but also bar staff, to be able to really recognize when a situation may be getting out of hand that they need to step in. And so it teaches third-party intervention for them to be able to intervene in situations where someone's health and safety may be at risk. And so I think the Sexual Assault Center stated that I think it's like 50% of sexual assaults involve alcohol. And so, we work hard to make sure that, a lot of the bar staff is trained. And we went from 2 bars that were Safe Bar certified just, I think, 2 years ago, and now we're up to a few dozen. So we hand out Safe Bar coasters, and your guests will not be able to see this, but we have see if you can see it on there.
Ooh,
coasters like this. We have fentanyl test strips out here.
That's great.
Here are the
wow.
These are the coasters that we have, and they test for GHB and that sort of thing. And so we hand those out. And these are very popular. People can take a sample from their drink and put it on there, and it'll tell them whether or not, I think it's GHB, ketamine.
Wait, the coasters test it?
They do.
Whoa, that is really cool. I haven't heard of that.
So we're, we've been doing that for a few years now. So the bars typically have those available, especially if they've been Safe Bar trained. So we're working at ordering more of those to be able to distribute them to the bars. But that's something that we do behind the scenes to make sure that it's a safer environment for everyone.
Yeah, because I've been noticing a lot on social media stories of a lot of women being roofied downtown lately. Rather than talking about how women can protect themselves, keep an eye on your drink at all times, ladies. I want to know how your office is immediately reacting to prevent this. I love these coasters. That's the first I've heard of it. This is amazing. But what else can we do?
If social media was the only avenue that you were using to be able to find the news for Nashville, you would think that everyone in town was being roofied. And we have to work with data. And I want to say, first of all, that we take those issues very seriously, roofies and anything of that nature. We want to keep people as safe as possible on Broadway and throughout Nashville. It does make it difficult when there's this flood of people saying that, that they've been roofied, and the data doesn't necessarily reflect that. But I have a meeting tomorrow with one of the hospitals to look at testing and the data to make sure that we're tracking the right information and that it reflects what we're actually seeing downtown. But I think it's important for people to make sure, like you said, that they not leave their drink unattended and don't take drinks from strangers. You can take candy from the Red Frogs, but that's another thing. But we also have nightcap items that that we've been working with the bars as well to provide that as an option. So we're looking at ordering more of those, that you can place a cap over your drink to prevent people from putting anything in your drink. So I do want people to know that it's something that we take very seriously, and we're continuing to look at the data to make sure that we're not missing anything.
So we've been talking a lot about downtown, but your office has gotten some criticism that it focuses too much on downtown, like us right now. What's going on in other parts of the city? Are you able to ensure safety in 12th South, the Nations, East Nashville, at the same time as you're working so hard at the tourism zone?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things that my office did was to create this monthly meeting with all the precinct commanders. We meet with them on a monthly basis, and they provide us with updates on anything going on in their particular precinct. What we're really running into, and what's been very interesting to really work with, is the fact that Nashville has changed so much. So you have a lot of these bars and nightclub type businesses opening up beside residential spaces. Honestly, that's been our biggest concern, is dealing with noise complaints from constituents. Like if you get outside of downtown, it's typically noise complaints that we're receiving. And so we've had one where I'm working with a council member and police, and we're texting each other at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning about these situations that come up. As time goes on, we are working to expand outside of the downtown area, and we have contacts and connections outside and in the various areas of town.
As we all know, there was a tragic incident in New Orleans earlier this year where a vehicle plowed through Bourbon Street. Do we have enough protection against something like that here?
I think that the police department has done a really good job of working with our federal counterparts to address a lot of the issues that come about with attacks like that lead to attacks like that. I was watching some of the media on the New Orleans attack, and they mentioned that typically you see an attack like that because there's a weakness at one point or another, vulnerability within the structure within the city. Part of our job is to take some of the responsibility off of MNPD for little things so they can focus on major issues like preventing attacks like that from happening in Nashville. If you go down Broadway, you'll notice the bollards and things like that are in place along the sidewalks that are built to prevent an impact from large vehicles. And I feel like, the police are doing everything that they can to keep Nashville safe.
Well, let's talk about the future. Some people believe the East Bank is just going to be Broadway 2.0. Since it's not built yet, what would you like to see across the river that would help proactively address some of the issues with our existing entertainment district?
I know they're going to have some bars and nightlife in that area. I think just being mindful of how the East Bank is set up and how it develops, making sure that, we're mindful about the nightclubs or things of that nature opening up next to residential spaces, how that could affect individuals living over there. That would be my biggest takeaway from it, just from the work that I've done with the city so far. I think just being proactive about the mix between business and residential spaces would be my biggest takeaway from that.
Good answer, I have to say, as a resident. Yes, thank you. If you had a magic wand and could change one thing downtown, what would it be?
Honestly, it would be really addressing a lot of the mental health issues that we have in the city. And, any number of issues that we have in the city, a lot of them can be tied back to mental health availability in this country. And, whether it's an individual who's homeless or, an individual who comes down to the bars and drinks too much, too heavily on a regular basis and causes trouble, that sort of thing. Like, I just really think that we need to do more to address mental health opportunities in the city, but also in the country as a whole.
And for your very last question, again, it's been such an honor talking to you. What are you most excited about? I will. He's the nightmare, y'all. What are you most excited about for the future of downtown and Nashville nightlife in general?
Honestly, it's the partnerships that we have yet to build yet. When I first started and I'd been doing this for about a year, I was like, I was having a hard time really focusing on finding a way to fit nightlife and, the nightlife office into what other departments and what the city really needed from us. And so it turned out, though, that if I just listened to individuals and what they really needed, then those partnerships started to come about. So, I was talking with Councilmember Evans one day, and she put me in touch with the Sexual Assault Center. And so that's how we got connected with Safe Bar. And then I was speaking with her another day, and she put me in touch with Trevor and Mike, who helped me with the Narcan and providing Narcan to the bars. And so that partnership came about from that communication. And so I'm excited about the possibility of other partnerships that I haven't even considered yet, and what we can do to improve the city and make it safer and make it reach the heights that we all want it to be.
Well, Benton, this has been great. If I see you downtown, I'm going to buy you a beer and a shot, probably. You'll be working, but I'll sneak you a shot.
I'm all for it.
Just kidding. All right. I love it. Well, thank you again.
Yes.
Really appreciate it. And I do know that your job is a really, really hard one, but because you exist, we do feel safer. So thank you.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate the opportunity to be on the show, and had a great time.
That's all for today here on CityCast Nashville. I'll see y'all downtown Nashville. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell your friends? Rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Nashville newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Toodles!